Okay. And we're live now.
And we're live.
And today we have Piyachai Teo with us. Piyachai, you are now the only Wimhof instructor in Malaysia. Is that correct to say?
No, I think there's actually one more guy who,
Right.
who might be doing it, as well. But from what I know, like, I'm the guy who's actually like just really bringing it, to the market.
So actively in the scene right now.
Yeah.
Doing this.
So actively in the
Day
scene
in, day
right
out.
now, day in, day out, purely focused on this. Just because I know, the problems that a lot of Malaysians have.
Right. What was the problem that we have?
So a little bit of background about
Yeah.
myself, right? So I used to work in management consulting. So I came from a corporate background. I moved on to a large e-commerce player where I became like an operational manager there. And just generally being in the workplace, the one thing I've noticed with most people is everybody has problems. Everybody
Yes,
has
for sure.
a lot of problems and a lot of people have a lot of stress, right? So,
For sure.
there's a vicious cycle that happens all the time whereby, come Monday, everybody has this Monday blues, everybody's just like, oh man, it's Monday again. And then come Wednesday, it's like, all right, it's
Monday,
Wednesday,
bro.
it's hump day, right?
Yeah, man.
So
Can
there's
get
this-
happy a
Almost
bit.
there, we're
Almost there.
yeah,
Almost there.
yeah, it's interesting, right? It's interesting
Yeah.
how like right smack in the middle of this day, there's this hump day which people look forward to, and then like come Friday, it's like the
No, man,
happiest
You
day.
skip the most important
Every-
day, man.
What was the
Thursday.
most-
Thursday is the new Friday, bro.
Thursday is the new Friday, right?
Thursday is when you can go and drink and it's fine. Because tomorrow Friday, bro, relax.
Nobody's
Right. Maybe I missed that part, right? So I guess there's this new trend now that
Right.
like Thursday is the new thing, which makes it even better. So I guess there's more things to look forward to for people during the week. Since they're already having a really stressed out day.
But it's sad though, right?
It is
Yeah.
sad. It's really sad, right? So come Friday, then everyone's so happy. They're like Friday night, they look forward for plans, then most people get smashed. Like I remember like just every Friday going out clubbing and like finally releasing this tension, like going for drinks and just like having a really good time. Come Saturday, like I have like no idea what happened on Friday and I'm just like recovering.
But you know
And,
you had a good time at least.
Yeah, at least, right? Yeah.
That's the,
So if I don't remember my day, then I know for a fact that like I had a good time. But then like so Saturday that is like pure recovery, and then Sunday I remember just like dreading it just because it's like, oh man, tomorrow's Monday. It's
I
already
mean, not
gonna
even
begin.
Sunday. Sometimes on Saturday, you're like, oh shit, tomorrow's Sunday, and like tomorrow's gonna be
Yeah.
the day before work,
so Sunday is
Yeah.
the new Monday.
So Sunday, so Sunday blues now, right? Oh man, let's not start there, right? Let's still really try to enjoy our
Rewriting the
Sundays. lah.
Dude, I think it's true though, because I remember back in my corporate day, Friday means have to go changkat lah.
Yeah,
Have to drink, shit face.
yeah.
And usually we're there by sometimes even 7. This is the happy
Wow.
hour, right? Because Friday traffic is like it's terrible, right? We don't know why, but every
Yeah.
Friday it's just super jam. If I were to go home at maybe 6, I stay in PJ, work in KL, right?
Yeah.
Takes me about 1.5 hours.
Right.
Can be 2 hours or so when the jam is really, really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's a good excuse, lah. I think it's just a good excuse to like go into town and like get shit faced. and, like, 4 a.m. nasi lemak. And then next morning we wake up, it's like, fuck.
But it's all because of that, right? There's that underlying stress.
the stress. That's right.
Or,
That's right.
not doing what you want to be doing actually.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest problem, right? Because if you don't want to do something, your boss hand it to you, and the stress build up, and over like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, you just get so like strung up.
Yes, that's
Just
right.
stress as fuck.
That's right. Like, and see, the thing is, like, I think there are many factors that actually contribute to stress, right? So it could be like what you said, like, it could be from like work or from your boss. It could be from kids. It can be from your wife or your husband, your spouse, your family. There's all these different contributions to stress right now. And the worst thing about stress is that it's not in your face. What that means is like, so like if you have cancer, you go for a scan, you have cancer, you get a tumor, and then you're like, okay, I have cancer, so I need to treat cancer, and it's really clear what I need to do. Whereas with stress, everyone's like, oh, okay, I'm stressed out, but I guess this is normal. I'll just live with it, or I will just get shit faced and like kind of like drink my thing away. And one of the interesting things I've actually observed and noticed as well is that like what most people do when they're actually stressed out is they actually eat. Right?
Yeah,
'Cause
man.
eating feels so good, you
Yeah,
know.
man.
So when you understand, when you start understanding yourself a little bit more and like why you do certain things, because all of us at the end of the day we all have certain needs that we need to fulfill, and that's why we do certain things. And when people get stressed out and they don't have an answer, they have nothing good going on in their lives. You know, they're stressed out over a deadline, or they're stressed out over things that are out of their control. Then the one thing that is really in their control is the ability to eat. And so they eat and it feels good. And the interesting thing is, like the interesting thing is like the reason why actually eating also feels really good is because you change the way you breathe. Right? So if you think about it, why does smoking feel good? Why does eating feel good? It's because it changes the way you breathe. Like, so
While you're doing that, you mean?
while you're doing it. So if you take it like, so if you see like somebody who's smoking, right? You just observe the way they smoke. They're going about their day, it's very day to day, and it's like shallow breathing all the time. And then when they finally stop to take that break, they take that inhale, they take that deep inhalation, and it's like, and they blow that smoke out slowly and they kind of enjoy that cigarette, and they're like, oh, this feels so good. I feel so much more relaxed. I feel calmer now. And the interesting thing is, the reason why you feel calmer is because you're taking that deep breath. You are slowing down your breath. You're really breathing and you're filling yourself up. And that is why
man.
it is, right? And
I think it makes sense.
You just
It makes
blew
sense.
my mind there. Yeah,
exactly.
But how eating also? Do we do that when we eat? Because I don't remember like breathing deep when I eat though.
So when you eat, right, when you're full, when you're fully digested, when you're really, and then what do you do when you're done in a prep? You know, when you go for a buffet, you eat,
Right.
and when you're finally done with the buffet, you're like,
Comatose.
yes, oh my god, I'm so full, and then you, oh my god, I'm full, oh, I can't do this anymore, right? You're taking these deep breaths and you're slowing down, and you're like, woo, that was a meal, man, and you really slow yourself down. You take the time to like really just relax, and that is why eating feels so good. And then suddenly you feel tired, and you're like, whoa, I'm so tired. You know, I kind of want to like sleep right now, right? And like the reason why is just because you want to breathe more. You start yawning, and what does yawning do? Yawning is just like a different form of breathing. It's a very natural way that your brain is telling you, hey man, like, I've got not enough oxygen right now, so I cannot function. I need to
Draw it
breathe.
in.
And then you take this yawn, and then like you're like, oh, okay, you feel a bit better, and then you're like, okay, you can kind of function, right? So it's super cool, man. Like, if you really look at a lot of things, like everything is very connected to the breath. Everything is really connected to the breathing. Most of the natural ways for you to feel good is actually breathing.
Breathing, yeah.
So if you think about it, like again, when you're tired,
Meditation.
you yawn, right?
Right.
So you, and like, here's a fun fact for like anybody who's listening out there. I know you've been brought up to when you were raised, like when you were told when you yawn and when you're talking to people, just make sure that you don't. When you're talking to people, don't yawn like with your mouth
front of
open,
them,
because
yeah.
that's really rude, right? But what that does is, if you feel it, right, you try yawning and you block yourself, you're actually preventing yourself from breathing. So your brain is like saying like, hey man, I want to breathe, and you're talking to someone, and when you're yawning, you're actually just, you need more oxygen because you're really paying attention to the person. You're taking in so much information, you're understanding so many things that to really grasp everything, you need more oxygen in the brain.
Right.
But when you talk to someone and you block that oxygen, you know, when you talk to someone and you see someone going like,
Right.
or do you like, oh my god, I feel even more tired because you're not breathing, you're not allowing yourself to breathe, and you think it's rude. But then after that, you're like, the thoughts that go through your head when the person's still talking to you is like, oh my god, I'm so tired, I can't listen to this person anymore. Which is even worse, because then this person's talking to you, he's engaged with you, and you're like supposed to be like nice because you're not rude by yawning in front of him and you're trying to listen to him. But because you have no more oxygen in your head, you cannot listen to him anymore. Then you're just like, dude, man, you just need to shut up. Like, I
Yeah, man.
don't do this
If
anymore.
my lecturer is listening to this is why I yawn. This is why I yawn so much. I was trying so hard to pay attention. I was just
Yeah.
top student, man.
Exactly. So you're paying attention, right? So people need to see that.
Yeah,
People need to start like shifting their like.
But that's the thing, right? They think they are
right?
boring, right? If someone is yawning, that's the thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But wait, are you saying that if kids yawn in class, then it's a good thing?
Yeah, it is. It
Okay.
is actually. I mean, honestly, yawning it is the most natural way of giving yourself oxygen. Because
Right.
there's no other way. How else is your system gonna say, "Hey, man, I need to breathe"? It's not gonna suddenly register a message in your head and say like, "Dude, take a deep breath because I need to breathe." Right? You suddenly out of nowhere you yawn. You're out of your friends. You yawn. You feel like yawning. You don't control it at all. It's so natural that what I tell people now is that you should always just double down on nature. So if you yawn, then your brain is saying like, dude, you need oxygen, you need
And
to breathe.
start breathing.
So just yawn even more, just like, and like give yourself a really good yawn, give yourself a nice bit of oxygen to like, pump yourself up, man. Like give it to yourself. Because it's like a car. Right? Your body's exactly like a car, and if you drive a car on empty fuel all the time, if you drive a car on low tank all the time, the car is going to break down. There's no two ways about it, right? So it's the same thing with your body, right? So if you're not pumping yourself up, filling yourself up with enough oxygen, then your body's going to break down. Like it doesn't break down overnight.
Yeah, that's true, I think. But for the listeners who don't know what Wimhof is, Wimhof method, right? It's the Wimhof method. Maybe we can talk a bit of what Wimhof has done. He's known as the Iceman,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And all these physical feat.
Yeah.
You've seen him because I saw your picture. You were in Everest as well.
No, it wasn't
No.
Mount Everest. It was another mountain in the US called Mount Hood.
Okay.
But we did the similar climbing up the mountains in your shorts.
In your shorts.
Yeah.
So that all comes back to breathing. once
Breathing.
again,
Just
is it?
breathing, yes. Yeah.
So Wim Hof is the pioneer from. He's Dutch, is he?
He's Dutch.
He's Dutch, yeah.
He's Dutch, right? So here's the mind-blowing thing that I have like observed over the past year. And so the mind-blowing thing is this, right? So when everybody talks about health, they talk about two main things, right? Whenever you want to be healthy, or whenever somebody has this huge epiphany of saying like, okay, I need to be healthier and I need to have a better lifestyle, they always talk about two main things. The first thing is a diet, right? A great diet. You should go on a good diet. You should go on a ketosis diet. You should,
vegan,
vegetarian,
paleo.
like
Then now there's the new carnivore diet. Have you heard of that shit?
what carnivore diet?
Yeah,
right?
just eat meat, bro. Just eat meat. That's it. Don't eat anything else. Just steaks.
Somebody who's
Yeah.
loving meat is definitely like writing this diet
Dude,
somewhere. Man,
it works for people with autoimmune disease apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, so those people who get like rheumatoid arthritis and stuff like that,
Right.
they just take meat and they don't take anything else,
Right.
and apparently they get better.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's true, right? So I mean, like, it's without a doubt that all these diets for sure have some benefits to them, right? Like at the end of the day, even if you cut out like 60% of your food, which considers as a diet, you're definitely going to get healthier
Yeah,
just
man.
because you're not filling yourself so much. See, the problem with diets is one, there's way too much advice out there, right? So what do I do? Where do I start? Do I go intermittent fasting, which is supposed to be really good? Do I cut out carbs? Do I cut out fats? Like what's happening, right? So with so much scientific development, there's so many different types of diets that we don't know where to start, where to follow, and where to go. And not just that, like look at the first three letters of diet. Like who the hell wants to do that, right? So the minute someone goes die, like I'm on that. Like, okay,
Yeah.
this seems really difficult, and I don't know why, right? Like,
I think it's just complicated though. Like our bodies, everyone's body is so different, and like
Yes.
everybody responds so differently to even stuff like peanut butter,
yes,
right? Sugar.
yes,
Right. So I think like the science of dietary science, like one thing they know for sure is that if you want to just do intermittent fasting, like that's for sure they know it's good.
Yeah,
But in terms of composition of what to eat,
yeah,
nobody really knows, man.
yeah. That's right. That's true.
So you just gotta try it yourself, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there have even been studies showing that each person actually has a unique diet on their own. So what might be... So we were brought up with like the mentality of this has this vitamins and this nutrition, so this is good for you and you have to eat it, right? So I don't know. So my parents will always be like, every vegetable that I never wanted to eat always had some nutritious value that will always like contribute to my body somehow. But interesting thing is like they show like spinach, which is supposed to be really good for some people, can be really bad for a lot of people. So it depends on their microbiomes, right?
You mean you don't become Popeye now?
No, you
Really?
don't become Popeye all the time, right?
shit.
You don't become strong all the time. So
Holy shit.
yeah.
Been lied to.
Yeah, right? Damn cartoons, man. Like, I remember eating
cartoons.
spinach, so much spinach, thinking
Yeah,
I'll be
man.
like nice and strong,
Yeah.
but no, it doesn't happen overnight. So that's the thing with diets, right? So everybody has a very unique body on their own, and again,
But everybody breathes.
and yeah, so before I get there, so again, so that's diet. One, the first part that everybody talks about being healthy. All right. Second thing about so what's the second thing? So if I asked you guys, what is the second thing that's something everybody always talks about when it comes to being healthy?
Exercise.
Exactly. Exercise, right? These are the main two things that everybody talks about without a doubt. Go to the gym, go yoga, eat differently.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only advice that's out there about health, right? So here's a fun fact. At most, right, like the most disciplined person in the world, right? Like most of us lack discipline. I don't know about you guys, but I for sure lack some discipline. So even the most disciplined person in the world, right, who has the time would exercise at most, say, once a day, right? Maybe they go for a jog in the morning, go to the gym in the afternoon or in the evening. At once a day, like that's the main target. Let's go exercise once a day. And that's your exercise of how you can get healthier. The second thing is diet, right? The average person at most eats maybe 3 meals a day. That's what we were brought up to say, right? Breakfast, lunch, dinner. In Malaysia, maybe your average is like 5 meals because you get tea and supper as well, right? You get your roti canais in the middle and you get your nasi lemaks at night. And, you know, like again, not the healthiest diet, but like that's the way we eat, right? So,
Because we're all stressed, right?
I
I
because
figured
we enjoy it,
probably-
because we love to meet our friends,
Yeah.
because we're stressed, because we're hungry, right? But we eat, and there's only so much that we can eat, right? So again, so let's say at most we eat like 5 times a day. But did you know that the average person also breathes 20 to 30,000 times a day? So a person exercises once a day, which is great advice to become healthy. A person eats 3 to 5 times a day, which is also a great way to be healthy. But a person breathes 20 to 30,000 times a day,
Which is also a great way to be healthy. Or
Which
can
is-
be a great way to be healthy.
which is the most fundamental way to become healthy. Because if you think about it, how long can you live without money? You can live years without money because you can become a beggar, you can go to temples, you can get like free food and whatnot, and you can survive, right? How long can you live without food? So scientifically, they say you can live without food for a few weeks. Like, I don't know if I can last a week, but scientifically you could, right? How long can you last without water? Few days. Scientifically, few days, right? Water is really, really important. But how long can you live without breathing?
I think 1 minute for me. I tested.
So I know you can live definitely
Yeah.
more than 1 minute,
Yeah.
but right, scientifically, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. 4 or 5 minutes without oxygen to the brains and you're dead.
Yeah.
So how is, and that's the weird part, right? So then like, how is breathing not prioritized? So when I found out like, oh my God, actually, this is so true. We breathe all the time. It's something that we do automatically because it is so important. Like we don't automatically eat. We don't automatically exercise because it's not that important. But we automatically breathe because if we don't breathe, we die. The great thing about breathing is we also have the ability to take control over the breath and actually influence it in our own way. And this comes to the whole Wim Hof method. So the good thing about the Wim Hof method is it's just one way of breathing. Because if you think about it, there's so many ways you can breathe. You can take a deep breath. You can breathe quickly. You can inhale passively. You can exhale passively. You can do all sorts of things with the breath, right? And the Wim Hof method is just one type of breathing technique. The great thing about the Wim Hof method is that it is scientifically backed to help you out. So before this, like everybody knows meditation is good. Everybody knows meditation helps with stress. Everybody knows that meditation helps with each person's well-being, but nobody knows how exactly, right? So like, there's still a lot, it's still like, let's say like pseudoscience, so to speak. There's no like full backing, say, oh, because of meditation, this happens in your body, right? Whereas with the Wim Hof method, there are studies happening all around the world to show how this can really help a person increase their mental and physical state. And that is the biggest mind-blowing part, because everybody's a skeptic, right? Like, I'm a skeptic. I was a skeptic. So how I got into the whole Wim Hof method was that I saw this video and it said, never fall sick again.
On
right?
YouTube.
On YouTube.
I think I saw the same one.
It was a Vice documentary. The title, it said, never fall sick again. And I'm like, never fall sick again? No way, right? Like, what? Who makes this claim? Like, who makes the claim that you can never fall sick again? So I'm a guy. I'm a guy who hates the cold. I'm a pussy as fuck, right? So I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to curse. I don't know.
No, it's
Okay.
alright. It's,
Yeah.
no holds barred.
Right.
But
So
what was the video about again?
So it's basically
Never fall
to
sick
never
again,
fall
and,
sick again,
Like,
right?
what is it? A documentary?
It's a full Vice documentary about Wim Hof. And like his journey. And the cool thing is, it's not just about him, right? There's this other guy who's interviewing him and giving the whole documentary, and he's also doing everything. So he's speaking through experience. He's half naked on this mountain, which is snowing as hell. And I'm like, okay, so Wim Hof is not the only guy who can do this. And for a guy who's just, like, scared shitless of the cold, like when I was in the UK, I used to die, and like, I remember taking my morning shits and thinking like, oh man, I have to get ready. You know the toilet seat, dude? I'm sure you remember the toilet seat, man. It's like you brace for it and you're like, ooh boy. Oh, it's like, oh yeah, okay.
The toilet is the worst, right? Always during winter time.
Yeah,
because it's
dude.
never heated. It's
never heated, man.
Yeah.
And it's so cold, and I wear a jacket whenever I go to the cinemas. I'll bring my Air Asia blanket, so I'll feel nice and warm and like cozy. And and I used to fall sick I used to take antihistamines every week. So I have like really bad sinus problems.
Okay.
So I take antihistamines every week. So I'll pop it like candy, dude. To a point where my girlfriend will bring it with her everywhere we go, just in case I have like a reaction of some sort. Like my eyes would just like suddenly like bloat up and I would have some form of allergy reaction. And so when I saw this video, like never fall sick again, I was like,
Sure not.
Sure not. Really, man? What bullshit is this, right? But like, if I'm going to watch things on YouTube, I'm going to watch things online anyways, instead of watching another Netflix video, I thought, okay lah, let's check this out, right? Maybe there's something I can learn. Maybe there's something interesting here. I checked it out. Such an interesting documentary. Like, I would recommend it for sure. And I tried the method for myself. And when I tried the method for myself, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. This is mind blowing. Like, you should have seen me at the time, right? I was like a madman. I was running around. Like, the minute I was doing it, every friend I had, I introduced it to them. I tried guiding them through it. I was like, dude, you need to check this out, man. This is game changing. I was going around, right, and I was telling people I found the secret to life.
Bold claim again.
It was yeah.
Was this in Malaysia or back in the UK?
This is in Malaysia.
Oh.
This was in Malaysia, and
So what the mama, bro, you wanna fall sick somewhere or not?
no, it was just like I was going around, I was like, guys, I found the secret to life. You have to try it. And I was like preaching it, right? And Malaysians being. Well, I don't know whether some Malaysians. I don't know whether maybe we're just really courteous people, very nice people. So we're very like layan lah, like, oh really? Oh okay. Oh that sounds cool. Oh that's nice. And like, well, one thing I realized is that no matter how much I told people about it, I had to still go like, yeah, you just go home and you YouTube this or you YouTube that, and then like most people like, once they leave a conversation and they go
That's
back.
it.
that's it, right? They go back in their days, they go back with their standard day-to-day life, and they have their own things to think about and do. So everything just slips and no one does anything. And so that's when I kind of decided, like, hey, you know what? Malaysians have so many problems. Mental illness is on the rise. Chronic illness is on the rise. The best way, everybody likes to be spoon-fed. So why not go be an instructor and spoon-feed people here in Malaysia? So that was pretty much like how I kind of like got into it.
Okay, let's get into it like right now, right? What is then the secret of life? So we talk about breathing. We talk so much about breathing. We talk about it helping you be more healthy.
Yeah.
Not, I guess, without the need of dieting and exercise. I'm sure they play some part.
That's right.
This is like a part that you feel, or the Wimhof method says that you neglect this breathing part of your physiology, right?
Right.
And it has so much of potential. So what exactly is it then that you do?
So what is it exactly? So again, right? You're right. So first of all, like, you're right in a sense that to be healthy, of course, your diet and exercise does play a part. I'm not saying that you shouldn't like think about your diet, you shouldn't exercise at all. But again, like, I still think breathing specifically is really important. And why is it so important? Is because the health of your body, right, is dependent on the health of your cells. And the health of your cells is dependent on the health of your bloodstream, right? So your lymph system, which is what kind of like cleans your whole, is like the drainage system of your whole body. It has been shown that the best way to actually clear your lymph system is through a deep diaphragmatic breath. So by deep breathing alone, by learning how to deep breathe and to really oxygenate your body, that is the best way to clear the toxins and clear and like really clean out your body. So that's what gives cells, that's what makes cells healthier. That's what makes cells more oxygenated. And like, here's a fun fact, like that's actually what can help prevent cancer. So if you look into cancer cells are actually cells that are oxygen deprived, and that's why they are there. So if you oxygenate your cells enough, then you lower the chances of you getting cancer. So they had a study that 1 in 3 people, average people, get cancer, but 1 in 7 athletes get cancer. So they show in athletes is a much lower number just because they are breathing more. They are breathing deeper, they're just exercising their body a lot more, and they're pushing it a lot more. So what happens in deep breathing and why don't I tell you a little bit about the Wimhof method first, and then like what and how that kind of like changes your physiology, right? So the Wimhof method is a combination of 3 main things. There are 3 main pillars of the Wimhof method. So the first pillar is obviously the ice, right? So this guy is the Iceman, and like the Wimhof method will never be complete without the ice. The second one is deep breathing, which is what I've been like constantly saying, like deep breathing. Breathing is literally the most important thing. Like if there's anything that you do, you always just need to learn how to breathe. Then the third pillar is the mindset and commitment. You know, it's the same thing whereby you don't diet one day and you become healthy. You don't run for a day and join the Ironman. You don't run for a day and join a marathon instantaneously. It's a mindset, it's a commitment, it's a daily practice. It's something, again, you're already breathing every day, so you're not really doing anything different. You're just breathing better, you're breathing smarter. So what generally happens in your body and why this is good for you, and why else deep breathing is actually good for you, is that when you're doing deep breathing, and as in you get rid of CO2 in your body, you actually alkalize your body. So they did this study whereby pre-breathing, your average pH is about 7.4. Right?
The pH in your blood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? So it's about 7.4. So you breathe and then when you do the deep breathing in and out, as you get rid of the CO2 in your body, you actually alkalize your body a lot more. And what they did is then they did a test that showed that your pH levels can go up to 7.8 just through breathing alone. So that's another like mind-blowing part, right? So when I heard about that, I was like, holy shit. Like, you mean you can actually alkalize your body just through breathing? And like, so why the hell do people need alkaline water?
All this alkaline water, Kangen water.
Right? This Kangen water that people have been selling for like $10, $20, $30,000. Everybody wants to be more alkaline. This is such a big thing. It's supposed to make you healthier. And you can actually do it just through breathing alone.
Sure not.
Sure, dude. So
that's the thing, right? It's all very... It's bold claim, but it's backed by science, right?
It's backed.
It
is. Like you said, it is.
Yeah. So it's backed by tests. So again, this is why I love the Wimhof method. Is because everything is just backed by science, right? So the minute somebody doubts something, you're just like, but scientifically, it has shown this, and then like people can't go about it anymore because it's just like, oh god, I guess if it's scientifically,
which is what I found out as well. Like while researching the whole Wim Hof method, right? I guess the thing that sets himself apart from a lot of other people who make health claims, is that he works a lot with experimentation.
Yeah,
he himself, there's that famous experiment of him being injected with E. coli.
Yes.
And then even after that, like a bunch of other people being injected by it, and
they were okay.
The science, backs it up.
Yep.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yep. It's really game changing, and like I believe like a lot of gurus in the past would also have like some answer of some sort, because there are definitely a lot of people who are very in touch with their breath, and that's how Buddha got enlightened as well, right? So Buddha got enlightened just by observing his breath and realizing like, okay, things comes and goes. And that's why, like, if you see meditation, you just watch the thought, it comes, it goes. You just watch the breath. You can try not breathing the whole time, but your body is just not going to allow you to do it. The breath would always just come and go. It will come, it will go, and you just pay attention to it, you observe it.
Just like your troubles, just like your stress. Comes and goes.
Exactly. Everything comes and goes. Whereas again, Wim Hof is amazing because he took it to science. So he had like this whole plan of like, let me break all these world records so I can become famous, so that I can finally get the attention of the scientific crowd and say, hey, I have something interesting to show. I have something interesting to share. And I have an answer that could solve 90% of the world's problems. Because so they also ran a study that 75 to 90% of visits to the doctors, 75 to 90% of visits to the hospitals are actually due to stress-related issues.
Yeah. And there's this, I think it's Dr. John Sarno, who wrote this book about how stress causes back pain more than the actual disc causing the problem itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think we spoke to Evelyn about this as well, the previous guest that we have. So it seems like the message is more or less the same.
Yeah.
Because we are talking a lot about how to de-stress by just really controlling breath.
Right.
Right? Deeper, longer.
Yes.
We'll just slow the heart rate down, stop the cortisol from triggering.
Right.
Just relaxes yourself.
Yes.
But what? So you have done this for about a year now.
Yes.
How has it changed or impacted your life? You've been doing consistently, daily?
I have.
Are you still taking antihistamine?
Yeah.
I don't. So I don't take any more antihistamines. It's been over a year since I've been practicing this method. I haven't fallen ill, like touch wood, like I haven't fallen sick at all for a day. I haven't taken any more antihistamines. I barely get any allergy reactions already. And even if I do, I don't even need to take an antihistamine. The minute I notice the reaction, I just start breathing a bit more, and then the reaction actually goes away. It's been amazing in terms of helping me manage my stress. Like, so I'm still an entrepreneur, still starting up my own business. I still have my own challenges for sure. I'm still human. I still react to things. But whenever I get stressed out, like the minute I feel stressed out, like I just do some breathing. Yeah. Like I still doing more breathing. And and it goes away. And like the best thing is like I haven't had a sleepless night. Like so every night I still sleep really peacefully, and it doesn't matter how stressed I am. It doesn't matter what's going on in my life. It doesn't matter what it is. I still sleep very like peacefully, very soundly. Yeah, and that's what a lot of people don't get. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy about that. So in terms of benefits, like I would say those are the biggest like benefits for me. On top of that, like an increased energy, higher awareness, higher conscious level.
Do you change your diet at all during this? The level of diet and exercise that you get, or is it more or less consistent day to day, week to week basis?
Quite consistent. Week to week basis. I do intermittent fasting, because I believe it's like there's a lot of studies that shows it's very good to allow your digestive system and your body to like rest between 12 to 16 hours. So I do that, and I think it's great. Because it's one of the only diets that actually like showed that I could eat anything I want. So I'm like, all right lah. So I just don't eat for a period of time. And okay, so another cool thing is that when you learn how to breathe, right? And when you learn actually deep breathe and you consciously breathe more, right? The funny thing is you don't feel as hungry. Like I don't feel as hungry as I was before. Just because I'm breathing, and I'm not, and I think the breathing definitely helps in terms of like allowing me to control, because like I think eating is also a lot of reaction, right? So a lot of times we eat because it's habitual. It's more like, oh, it's 10 o'clock, it's time to eat. Oh, it's 12:30, it's time to eat. Oh, it's 7:30, it's time to eat. It's like, oh, but I'm not hungry. No, but it's dinner time, so it's time to eat. So whether you're hungry or not, you still kind of go there. You know, a lot of, you kind of dread ordering something, but you're like, okay, it's dinner, I'm with some friends, I'll just order something. Then you ordered it already, like, oh man, I've already ordered it, let me finish it. At least, right? So another vicious cycle there, but it is a cycle that goes.
Sounds very familiar, man.
Super
familiar, bro. It's like my day-to-day life.
We are trained in that kind of way, right? Where there's a certain time or that we just have to do what we have to do.
Yeah, but it's also interesting to note that one of the reasons why people tend to overeat because they don't drink enough water.
Yep.
So we tend to want to get a water source from food instead of like from actual water itself, which is weird.
Right.
But I think my experience with IF was that the more I do it, the more my appetite starts to shrink.
Yep.
Like it seems like I can manage my but I don't really know then again because I do meditation at the same time.
Okay.
So I don't know which is giving what effect because I'm doing like 2-3 at the same time, right? So I wouldn't know.
Yes.
That's why I asked the question, right? So your practice now is that you would breathe and then go into an ice bath at home.
Yes. So like now I don't even need to. I just jump into the ice bath actually, like without any breathing. And
so wait. Let's put it on a pause for a second. Sure. You went to the 3 pillars, right? It's now cold, the breathing, and your mindset.
Yeah.
So we've been talking a lot about breathing.
Yeah.
But we've not touched about cold and the ice.
Yeah.
Wimhof was first famous also for his
ice.
The Iceman.
Yes. Yeah, the feet that he had.
Right?
Running around the in Poland, was it? Finland.
Yeah.
How does that tie up to breathing? Does that force you into breathing a certain way, or does that challenge you to test out your breathing? Like, why is it the cold? Why not the hot? Why not the heat?
Right. Okay. So why the cold? Right. So, oh my God, if you ever come for one of my workshops or one of Wim's workshops and you actually go through an ice bath, then you would know what he's really talking about when he says that the cold is the greatest teacher. So why the cold? Is because when you go into an ice, right? So even if you hold ice for like a good few minutes, right, your hand goes numb and it hurts and it burns and it's painful, right? But when you go into the ice, what Wim learned was that when he went into the ice, when somebody first goes into the ice, what's their natural reaction? Right? They start shivering and it's like, oh my God, and like they're not breathing, right? So they're actually just not breathing. But what Wim realized is when he went into the ice and then he started taking deeper breaths. So when you go in and you're like, what are you doing? You're reacting. Your breath is reacting. You are reacting. You are reacting to the cold. you are reacting to the pain.
Yeah.
And you are just reacting to life, right? But when you suddenly say, no, I need to breathe, and you take a deeper breath, and you slow it down. So instead of going, you're like, and then suddenly you show like, hey, you tell your brain, you trick your brain into saying like, hey, I'm in control. I have the power to sit here, and I have the potential and strength to actually do this. Right? And then you sit there and suddenly you're like, whoa, and when you go through the ice, the objective of going through the ice is not to sit there for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. There's no benefits of sitting there for a long period of time. The biggest benefit that you really get from the ice is that when you go in, you react and you feel cold and it's gonna hurt. And no matter how many times you do it, you can do it from the first time, for the 100th time, for the 1,000th time, it's gonna feel the same exact way, right? And you're gonna react. And when you start reacting, you're gonna start controlling your breath. You're gonna start learning how to breathe. You're gonna start gaining control of yourself. You're gonna relax. And then you're gonna feel good. And that is the objective of the ice. So when you go into the ice, you go into the sympathetic state where you are like fight or flight mode. It's time to survive. Oh my God, this is crazy. What is happening? To breathing and slowing it down, slowing your breath down, taking control of your life again, and transitioning to a parasympathetic mode, which is a rest and relax, calm, cool, collected. And that is why the ice is so powerful. Because the ice is like, it's like exactly like the world, right? The ice is the best analogy of the world in the sense that most of the time people get stressed out because of the thoughts that they have. Thoughts that they have of worst case scenarios that never really happen. Like maybe out of 10 times they think of a worst case scenario, 2-3 times it happens. You know, so many times I've been with people whereby we are slightly late to the airport and then they start panicking and thinking like, oh my God, what if the check-in lines are too long? They go crazy, right? They're frantic. They start reacting. They start thinking of the worst case scenarios, and then they put themselves. And see, the thing is, your brain doesn't know the difference between what's reality and what is a thought. So just by having these thoughts alone, you allow your body to go through that reality. You allow yourself to go through that scenario. So by thinking of the worst case scenario, they go like, oh my God, I'm so stressed. Well, this happens, that happens, this happens. They're whole so stressed out. The whole journey to the airport, they're stressed out. They finally get to the airport and then nothing happens. Everything's smooth. It's great. It feels great. And they're like, oh, okay, I'm great. But like, why? But they've already stressed the system out, right? And so people are very reactive to the world. And then you go out and you're like, oh, dude, why are you so sad? Oh, my boss, they gave me this work. Or they shouted at me, they yelled at me, they called me a dumbass, my friends called me a dumbass, like my friends laughed at me. Or why are you so pissed off, man? Oh, traffic jam, like idiot traffic jam, KL drivers, Malaysian drivers, unbelievable. Or rain, So people are very, people are very reactive to the world, and like because of their surroundings, they get stressed out, they get pissed off, they get angry.
It affects people, and
it affects them, right?
People get affected.
Yeah, man, because it builds up. Right?
Yeah.
That little bit of stress, that little bit of anxiety, day after day after day after day.
Yes.
Yeah, it tends to build up, right?
So it's not only that they are reacting to the world. So they go to point A, and then they collect the stress from there. They take that stress, they go to point B, and then I don't know. Okay, so if you observe a lot of people, what they love to do is like, oh my God, you don't know what happened to me the other day, man. And then they love sharing about their problems, and it's problem after problem after problem. And then like the minute somebody else hears that problem, you're like, what happened to you? Oh, you know what happened to me? Mine was actually worse, man. Like, oh my God. So they have to do a one-up, right?
Exactly.
So my story is worse than yours. You think you went through bad? I went through worse, right? And people pride on that, right? So they take glory in that is because like it's a way of connecting. And So I know this is a bit sidetracking a little, but one thing I've noticed is people love doing that. It's because like that's the only way they feel they can really connect with other people. They feel like that's the only way that they will get attention. That's the only way that their story becomes interesting. It's because like if I came here, like if I took the journey here and I was like, "What's up, man, guys? Wow, the road was so clear and it was such a smooth journey. That was amazing." And you guys would be like, "Okay." Cool. But if I came here and I'm like, "Oh my God, guys, you know, on the way here, you should have seen this massive pile up, man. This traffic jam, 10 cars build up. Wow, 10 cars build up. Oh, let's bang off the problem." And then the problem becomes interesting and then they become interesting and then they can connect with people.
And I think it's also the whole, like we talked about, right? Everybody's stressed. Everybody faces these things that has become the new normal.
Yeah.
It's normal for you to have Monday blues. And if you don't have Monday blues, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
And so if you come to a meeting with your friends and says that, "What a nice sunny day it is," they're going to look at you and be like,
Fuck you, bro. You're happy with your job. Fuck you, bro. Like, we're all suffering here.
Wanna, like, you know, almost like fitting in with the people around me by just,
agreeing.
you know, talking about the jam and the accidents and how I almost died last night kind of thing.
Yeah. No, but it's so sad, right? So if that becomes the norm and everybody is making that the norm, then everybody is trying to plunge themselves into depression, and no wonder depression is on the rise. Because who jumps into depression first wins, because then they get the most focus, they get the most attention.
Yeah, man.
They get like to share the most things, and it's like, and that's why depression is on the rise, which is so crazy.
I think there's a term for this, actually. I just learned like a couple of weeks back. It's called competitive victimization, which is very, very funny.
Wow.
we spoke about
Wow.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I've never thought about it that way. But
because they're victimizing themselves, right?
Yes.
And then I'm like, then you have to listen to me because, like, you know, I'm the oppressed. I'm the worst guy.
Yes.
Give me attention.
Yes.
That's how we compete for attention today.
That's right.
Yeah. It's a weird thing that we are doing.
That's so true.
It's not in just the West. I think in Malaysia it's the same thing as well.
It's all around the world, right?
And the stress is like spreading, right? Because when you are like talking about this, then if I don't feel stressed, suddenly I have to find like a stressful memory just so I can like fit in, you know?
Yeah.
Like what you say?
Yeah. And I also think it's because like the topics in general. So the minute somebody brings up a topic, if you have something to contribute to the topic, then conversation carries on.
Right.
And so because the topics are all problem related, are all stress related, so all the topics that people really talk about is this. And so again, I think it's a vicious cycle.
And you know what's funny? You know, something just came to my mind. What's funny is that, of course, I used to work with this group of people, and then after I left, and then when I come back and join for drinks, you notice the topic, it's still like about work. After work, we talk about work.
Yeah.
Right? And we talk about how shitty our boss is, our client, whatever. Whatever that, you know, that's terrible. I have to travel like 60 km away every day just to like work at this place, at this client, you know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So it kind of spreads, and then we cheers and drink, and relationships we celebrate it, right? Because we went through like trial of fire together, right? That's how we connect as well.
Yeah.
It's a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
Really.
So coming back to the ice, right? And that is why the ice is such a great teacher, because it's this exact same thing. You're gonna go into the ice. You have zero control over how cold the temperature really is because it's ice water. So it's already like 0 to 5 degrees, right? You have zero control over the pain that you're gonna, like, it's gonna hurt, like no matter what, it's gonna hurt, right? But the one thing that you do have control over is your breath. The one thing that you can do is you can breathe. And it's the same thing in life. Whenever you go out and you have a situation, when you're stressed out, when people are throwing shit at you, and you just learn how to breathe, then you learn how to get past it. You learn how to get past the pain. You learn how to get past the cold. You learn how to get past the torture. And you just be like, hey, I'm really zen. Right?
So the ice is more like a conduit for you to achieve that thought. Instead of like you have to.
Yeah, I see
in
it
a way.
also in a way of like it
It's
being
a tool.
the bridge between the physical and the mental as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it makes you, it wires you a certain way
Yes.
where like you say you're actually out of control, but you're actually in control at the same time.
Yeah. But he has a feat. Correct me if I'm wrong, he did went to the desert, right?
Yes.
And he ran and he drank like zero water.
Zero water, man.
Heat as well then.
Heat as well. Exactly.
Yeah, man.
So you can do it in heat as well. It's just ice. I guess maybe ice is a lot nicer, or he was just more exposed to ice.
Yeah, because he's all the way up north, right?
Yeah,
He's
so
Dutch.
Yeah. So maybe he's just more exposed to ice, and that was what was really calling him in the first place. And I guess it's just a lot easier versus good. Like, I don't know about you, but I prefer going into ice versus going to a desert.
I don't know. So if Malaysians want to try,
Yeah.
they can fast and just sit out in their yard, man, where it's hot. And don't drink water, like
Sunblock, put on the sunblock.
yeah.
Guys, yeah.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Something like that, right?
In a way, yeah. A great training would be if Malaysians could go outside, sit right in the sun, 12 o'clock, and just sit there and breathe and just not allow the sun to affect them. Yeah, for sure. You know, like that's one way to.
But how long do you like? Whether
go
is it
about
ice or like in the sun? Like how long do you actually be in that inhospitable environment though? How do you decide then when it's time for you to get up from the
Of the ice?
Yeah.
So the general rule of thumb, I take people through the ice for about 2 to 3 minutes at most.
Oh, just sit under
Just
for
2
2
to 3 minutes at most. And it's more than enough to give you all the health benefits that you need. And again, it allows you to... The goal is always just to allow somebody to transition from sympathetic mode to parasympathetic mode. That's it. So the minute...
2 to 3 minutes is pretty long as well. I mean, think about it. You're looking for a drink in the ice box and you can't find your drink.
Yeah.
Just that 15 seconds, your hands like, fuck, you know?
Have you ever played a game though? Like with your friends
can-
and who can leave it in there longest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shit, it's tough, man.
It's tough.
It's
It's
tough,
tough.
man.
It's tough. And it hurts, man. It
Yeah,
really hurts, man. Like,
So you go in 2 to 3 minutes.
yeah.
The whole point is just that you are not panicking. You're controlling your breath.
Yep.
You're in there. It's shitty, but you're still in control.
Yes, that's
All
right.
right.
That's right. And then like and like the crazy thing is once you sit in there after a while, you suddenly hit like a state of bliss. So from a state of panic to a state of like cold and pain to suddenly like a state of bliss. So there's a tipping point. There is a tipping point. And like I guess with a lot of things even like I guess with like marathons and everything, you know how like they always say
The
like
wall.
there's a wall. Yeah, you run once you get past that wall, then suddenly everything feels amazing. But
This is the iceberg.
this is it, you know, it's the same thing. So you go in and that's your wall, the ice right in front of you is the best teacher because 3 minutes, in that 3 minutes you learn so much. And then you get to come out like you feel clear, you feel amazing, you know. And it's also about helping people overcome limitations because a lot of people, if you tell them to sit in an ice bath now, they're like, you're crazy, man. Like, no way. I can't do this. And another interesting observation that I've had is just like, actually, right, if you really notice, a lot of people love fighting for limitations.
Fighting for limitation.
Fighting for their limitations. So if you go around, so now that you're aware about this and you start talking to people, you're gonna start realizing it. And you go like, hey man, so dude, you can go into the ice. No, I cannot lie. Dude, you can, man. You're strong enough. I cannot lie. I really cannot. Dude, you can, man. You just need to learn how to breathe. You're really strong. You can. Dude, I cannot. Okay, I'm telling you, I cannot do it. And they fight and hold on to the limitation. And they really hold on to, and I don't know why. So if you talk to a lot of people, you're like, hey man, I think you can do it. No, I cannot. And they will, and some people will even go through great lengths to explain to you
Why they cannot.
why they cannot do something.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's so interesting to see because whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you are right. And when I see somebody who believes they can't and really fights for why they can't, and I'm like, okay, man, if you want to be limited, sure, man. Like by all means, I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to give you that like confidence to say you can do it. But if you're really like adamant on limiting
Why do you think
yourself,
that is though? Why do you think they are fighting tooth and nail, you know?
I think a lot of people are actually just afraid of failure.
Yeah, and just getting out of their comfort zone.
Correct.
It's just easy to fall back to what you
But
know,
why though?
right?
Why
Yeah.
is it?
Because you're
Easier to
shamed.
do.
Fear?
Shamed, right? So failure, okay. Most beliefs are formed when you are between 1 to 7 years old. Believe it or not, most of the beliefs that you have and most of the beliefs that people have now are formed when you are kids. I mean, think about it, right? When you're growing up, something happens to you, you're gonna build a belief. Oh, this guy whacked me. I'm gonna build a belief. I shouldn't do this. I'm going to build a belief. Somebody yells at me for doing this. I'm going to build a belief.
100%, man.
So we build beliefs all the time growing up. And like growing up, thinking about it, like especially like in an Asian culture, if you make a mistake, what do you get ridiculed, you get yelled at, you get caned, you have to write 1,000 fucking lines just for like one mistake. You can get like 95 in an exam and you still have like a huge punishment because you didn't get 100%. Like this is bollocks, right? This is crazy. And that's why nobody wants to take any more risks. Everybody's so scared because it's like, oh my God, if I make a mistake, I get ridiculed. And
man. And the anxiety comes from there as well.
Anxiety comes from there. Yeah.
And it's funny because when you go out to work, you need that people that tell you just fail it's okay, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to test. No one really tells you about if you want to do Facebook marketing. No one tells you like, okay, do this. You get 1,000 leads or something like that. You have to try. You have to fail.
Yes.
But if you are brought up in that kind of environment, then it's kind of hard to rewire your brain, right?
Correct.
Because you're brought up to not fail.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like if you see in corporate culture now, like everybody acts like they know what they're doing. Everybody pretends like they know, like, oh, of course I can do this. Because if you, like, they say you should make mistakes. They say you should fuck up. But if you fuck up, it comes up in your review, your end year review, and it's going to say, nope, you made these mistakes, pop, and you're not ready for a promotion.
Okay, guys, and we're back. We had some technical difficulties.
Slight technical issues.
Yes, and I think just to finish the thought, we were talking about limitations and, of course, how breathing can help. How doing the cold bath and basically, I think it's just putting yourself in a situation where you're not comfortable.
Yep.
And being okay with that.
Yep.
Helps you train it. Now, coming to breathing itself, right? And during the downtime, we talk a little bit about this. Like, how many different techniques are there to breathe? Because if I watch Wim Hof, he just advocate the whole like take it in and like let it out a little bit.
Yep.
And then take in more than you let out.
Basically oxygenate your cells, your blood, and then you can just get to another level of your body functioning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So there are So this is the beautiful part about breathing, right? The beautiful part about breathing is that nobody knows exactly. There can be a million ways that you can actually breathe. There's no specific way that you can do it. It just shows that like different ways that you breathe can lead to different states. So if you really think about it, right? Like when you are angry, when you're happy, when you're stressed out, and when you're sad, are you breathing the same way? Or are you breathing differently?
Definitely different, man.
Definitely different, right?
Yeah.
So if different states can lead to different breathing patterns, then different breathing patterns can also lead to different states.
Right.
Right? So that's the other mind-blowing thing, right? So like yes, the Wim Hof method is a great method that can help with a lot of things, but again, the emphasis has to go to breathing. Like the only reason why the Wim Hof method is such a great tool to have is because it teaches you how to breathe. It makes you breathe. It makes you just breathe a lot more. Coming back to your question in terms of how many different types of breathing methods are there are countless methods that are available in the market. There are countless ways that you can breathe. You can take a deep breath. You can take a shallow breath. You can do dragon breath. There is
dragon breath. Whoa.
There's this thing called a dragon breath. I think Russell Brand is like really into it.
Wow.
What is that? What does that do?
So basically, so an example of how there are so many different techniques that you can actually breathe is like, for example, with the Wim Hof technique, you are actively inhaling. So you take in as much oxygen as you can, and then you just let it go. And when he means by let it go, what that means is just basically your lungs are elastic. Right? So when you take in so much air, when you really breathe all the way in, your lungs naturally just deflate because again they're elastic. So when you let the breath go, you are just letting go whatever that's extra.
Okay.
Meaning when you take the breath in, you take it all the way in, you just let it go. Meaning you're not forcing any air out. You're not emptying out. You're not emptying out your tank. You're just letting it go. It's just a very natural thing. So that is a form of active inhalation, passive exhalation. You inhale and then you exhale, right? So a dragon breath, for example, is whereby you are actively exhaling and you passively inhale. Because again, your system is our body and our system is so complex that no matter what you do, you need to breathe. You can lie down, you can tell yourself, I don't want to breathe. You hold your breath for 3, 4, 5 minutes or whatever, however long you want. You're either going to pass out, and after you pass out, you start breathing again, or you just cannot hold it anymore and you just take that breath in, right? So the beautiful thing about your body and it's how complex it is just that no matter what you try to do, you will just naturally just breathe, right? So an active exhalation and a passive inhalation, something that like that could look like when you blow the air out, you naturally take air in. So what that means if I go, so if I blow air out, this is called a dragon breath. I actively push out CO2 that I'm still taking a lot of oxygen. So if you do that for like 20, 30 minutes, you're going to feel really high. You do that for like 5 minutes, even like, you're going to get really, really high.
So it's very short inhalation and very short exhalation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just passively exhaling. So you can see I'm forcing the air out and then air naturally comes in. So that's an active exhalation, passive inhalation. Right? I can breathe into my chest and only my chest. And if you see like a lot of like older people, they have a very bad habit of doing that.
Yeah.
So when you take a deep breath in, you want to make sure that you're doing a very good diaphragmatic breath. And what that means is when you inhale in, when you take the deep inhalation in, you want to feel your stomach expanding. You want to feel the stomach going out, and then when you exhale, the stomach goes back in. Very simple, very basic, but most people don't do it. Most people, if you see now, especially with the older generation, they have very chesty breathing. And what that means is they only breathe to the chest, they don't breathe into their diaphragm. And so when you see them breathe, so if you take a deep breath and your shoulders are rising and you're raising like that, it means you're doing chest breathing. If you're doing chest breathing, you're stressing your system out. Because if you really look at how when someone's chest breathing, take a deep breath and their shoulders keep rising, that's exactly the same stance that a fighter takes before they go in for a fight.
So
if you compare a fighter who's about to fight for the first time, they're jumping, they're raising their shoulders, they're doing their punches.
So pumping up their adrenaline, right? That's what they're trying to do.
They're putting themselves in a state where, okay, that's it, I'm ready, I'm going to fight. So someone who's chest breathing, even though they're taking a deep breath with the objective of actually just relaxing and calming down and feeling good, because everybody says like if you want to feel good, take a deep breath, relax. But if you're taking the deep breath and you're only doing chest breathing, what you're actually doing is you're actually stressing your system out even more. So yes, a deep breath is good, but a deep breath the wrong way is not. You know, and that's the other interesting thing. So again, if you want to breathe, you want to take a deep breath, you have to do nice diaphragmatic breathing, and there's so many benefits that comes with it. And one of the biggest benefits is like, not only has it scientifically shown that it's great to clear your drainage, to clean out your system, and allows your cells to be healthier and more oxidized, but it also moves all the organs in your body. So your diaphragm, all the organs sit below the diaphragm. So your large intestines, your small intestines sit below the diaphragm. Your heart and your lungs, they sit right on top of the diaphragm. So when you breathe into the diaphragm, you move all the organs, you allow it to be healthier. It's the same thing if you have a car. If you have a car, you have a Lamborghini, you have a Porsche, you have a Ferrari, you can have a Bentley, you can have a Rolls Royce, you can have the most beautiful car in the world. But if you leave the car in the garage without moving it at all, without driving it at all, within 2, 3 months, 4 months, no matter how beautiful the car may be, it's going to break down. It's not even going to work. It's not going to run. The same thing with your body, right? If you're not moving these organs around, if you're not allowing it to like actually like have some movement into it, it's just going to get jammed up. Everything's going to get stuck, you know, and it's just not going to be healthy, you know? So that's why like there's so many ways that you can breathe, and like how, and again, why is it so important to breathe? Did you know that you can breathe to increase your energy? If you feel tired, you instead of grabbing a cup of coffee, grabbing a cup of tea and having a crash after, you can just learn how to breathe properly to give yourself more energy. If you feel stressed out, you can breathe in a way to calm yourself down. If you want to clear stress, there's a way of breathing. If you want to improve your focus, if you want to gain more clarity, there's a way of breathing. So there's so many ways that you can breathe. You can take a big inhalation, short inhalation. You can hold your breath. You can do a triangle breath, a box breathing. There's so many ways to breathe, and so many people are utilizing their breath to really unlock their full potential. So again, it doesn't matter where you are in your walk of life. You can be a super successful entrepreneur who's really zen in life. You can be an entrepreneur who's just starting out a startup. You can be somebody who's working in a corporate job. You can be somebody who's just a parent, a stay-at-home mom. That, like, no matter who you are or where you are in your walk of life, if you truly want to unlock your full potential, if you really want to see your full capabilities, then you need to learn how to breathe. And there's no two ways around that.
It seems so simple, doesn't it? It's just breathing. You already do it, naturally, involuntarily, without even thinking.
Yeah.
Now all you gotta do is
Think about it.
Think about it a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, walking is more difficult than breathing.
Yeah.
But why don't people do it then? Why does it take 3 guys sitting in front of mics to like talk about this?
Why do you even have a cause for the entire thing? Right?
That's right.
It's something so fundamental to our life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, that's the most, like, amazing, that's the most amazingly mind-blowing thing, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you really think about life, the best things in life are actually the most simplest, right? Life is actually really simple, but then we overcomplicate things. We always believe that there has to be more to life than these things. It can't be that simple. It can't be that easy. But if you really think about it, if you really, really, in anything and everything that you do, is actually very simple. In everything that you do, if you really want to do it right, it's actually very simple. When you want to solve a puzzle, you think of all the most complicated and complex ways of solving this puzzle. And you finally get the answer to the puzzle. How many times have you gotten that breakthrough of like epiphany of like, oh my God, what? It is that easy? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even think about it. Right? So I think now the thing is with most people is nobody's even thinking about it. Right? So why is yoga picking up so much? Why is yoga so popular nowadays? Everywhere, yoga studios popping up like mushrooms everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because when you go to yoga, what do? They tell you inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Where else would they tell you to inhale, exhale? You're not going to go to work and somebody's going to be like, all right, guys, inhale, exhale. So nobody thinks about breathing. Nobody thinks about consciously breathing. Breathing is something everybody does. And this is what I get all the time from people. So they'd be like, so now like, this is the coolest thing. So people go like, so P, what have you been up to, man? Like, what do you do now? And I'm like, oh, I teach people how to breathe. And they're like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, yeah, I teach people how to breathe. They're like, but I'm already breathing. I already know how to breathe. I was like, are you? Are you really breathing? Are you really breathing, or are you in an LRT? You get into an LRT, you get from one spot to another, you react to however you're reacting, you breathe to whatever situation you're in, whether it's an exam or you're in work or at gym or whatever, you're just breathing however the situation entices it. So in a way, you're not like, you don't know how to breathe, you're just getting into the LRT, it brings you to one station, and then you just get off there and then you hope for the best, right? Learning how to breathe is like learning how to drive a car. You can do so much more. You can speed, you can slow down, you can turn, you can drift, you can NOS, you can U-turn.
I want to come back a bit, right? It's interesting you just mentioned a gym. Do you think those guys are doing the right kind of breathing?
Not everybody.
Inhale, then exhale, ooh, push, those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that technically correct?
Yeah.
For them? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. there's definitely a way to breathe that allows you to build your body better. There's a way to breathe to, like marathon runners, Ironman people. They all have a certain way of breathing because that's the only way to actually like last that long. I mean, if you think about it, if you're not breathing properly, you're not taking your nice deep breaths, slow breaths. If they're panting throughout 13 hours, there's no way that they're gonna survive. So they all learn how to breathe. They all know a problem. So even when you go to the gym, it's exactly like what you say. Oh, in certain situations, people are aware about breathing. So most of the times it's athletes, right? Yogis, athletes, they're like, okay, no, I know that when I pump and I'm really using my muscle, I need to exhale. Or yogis, they know that in certain positions you need to inhale, certain positions you need to exhale. So now more and more people are taking more conscious breaths. And like, I think it's also like a hidden secret because breathing actually has been around for a very long time. The problem that the world has is that nobody wants to share the secrets, because if the US has the secret and they say like the whole US army breathes this certain way so that they can feel calm and composed and so that they have the mental clarity to take on any war zone. If they publicly announce this, then what do you think the Russians are going to do? What do you think ISIS is going to do? What do you think any other army is going to do? They're going to learn this thing to gain that same advantage that the US has, and so the US cannot disclose this kind of information. And what do? They train it in-house to the army and to their people only. A hidden secret, a well-known secret. They do that. I mean, if you think about it, right? If you were a soldier who's going into a war-torn country where you at any fucking point in time can get shot, right? I would imagine most people who are there are in a state of either stress, panic, anxiety, or some form of
definitely,
oh my God, I'm going to die. Like, what the hell am I doing here? But because they learn how to breathe a certain way, right? So Marines breathe. There's this particular pattern called box breathing. So if you want to like attention, if you want to concentrate on a particular task, if you want to gain certain focus, then you breathe this way called box breathing. And what that means is you inhale, and then you hold, and then you exhale, and then you hold. Right? And you do it for the same amount of times, meaning you inhale for 5 seconds, you inhale for 5 seconds, you hold the breath for 5 seconds, you exhale for 5 seconds, and then you hold for 5 seconds again.
What does it do, man?
It increases your concentration, it increases your focus, it allows you to get into a state where you are more optimal to execute whatever you need to execute. Yeah, and see, this is the thing. Holding your breath. How many people hold their breath? Holding your breath is one technique. Inhaling, then holding your breath is also another technique. Inhaling, holding your breath, exhaling, then holding your breath is one technique. Inhale, exhale, then hold your breath is one technique. There's so many ways that you can do it. There's so many ways that you can breathe that it works differently for different people.
And for different situations as well.
And for different situations as well. Exactly.
So in your class, you teach the various different way of breathing.
So the first class, the one class that I'm more focused on right now is the Wimhof method. And this is what, so to me, amongst all the breathing techniques that I've ever learned and everything that I've ever learned about breathing, Wimhof method is like one of the most powerful methods that could really change somebody's life. It has so much scientific backings and it does so much to your physiology. And it has so much impact that this is the one breath that I really want to help people out with first. Like, you should see internationally, globally, how much this has helped the world. It is incredible. If you do your research, there are people. Okay, two of the most outstanding cases to me, right? Two of the biggest, like, to me, this is the biggest like wows to date. The first one was it's on YouTube. There's this lady, she has MS. And MS is multiple sclerosis, autoimmune disease. And for those people who don't know what it is, it's basically like your body just internalizes everything and eventually gets to a point where you're in a vegetated state, you cannot move, you cannot walk, and you're just bedridden, right? So this lady, she had MS and she she was pretty much almost bedridden. She can't see her family, she has a family, so she can't see her family, she cannot travel, she can't do anything anymore, and she thought that's it, right? Like the doctors say you only have this amount of time before you get into a vegetated state. Because till today, an autoimmune disease is exactly what it is. Autoimmune, right? Our immune system is supposed to be known to be autonomous, so you have zero influence over it. Whereas Wim Hof, however, has shown that we are able to actually influence our immune system just through the Wim Hof method. And what this does, it by influencing your immune system, you rebalance your immune system. So immune systems that are overactive or underactive, it gets rebalanced. And so this lady, just by practicing this method alone, suddenly can walk again.
Wow.
Suddenly can travel again. She can see her family. She has her life back. And imagine what imagine what that
crazy, right?
imagine what that does for somebody, right? Somebody who is told that that's it. Like, you better enjoy walking around because the next 1 month you're not going to be able to do this anymore. You know? And suddenly now she can. She has that life back. And I thought that was just like amazing, right? The second story that, and this was a more like, I personally met this guy when I went for my final examination. It was a 1 week camp in the US. I went there for 1 week and I just really deep dived into the whole thing. Like,
this is when you have to like wear a spender and walk up a mountain.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Let's get
Shorts,
to that later.
right? We wore shorts. Yeah. But so I met this guy. His name is Doug. 64 years old. And I love his story. And like, this guy, you should meet him. He's an amazing, amazing guy. And so he's 64 years old, right? And like, when you ask somebody, how would you want to be when you're 64, right? How do you think you'll be when you're old? Most people in Malaysia have somehow like accepted the fact that they're old and they don't even think about anything, right? They're just like, oh, I'm old already, so I cannot do this. Oh, I'm old already, I cannot do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm old, I cannot do that. And and I hate it when I hear people my age complaining that they are old.
That they're getting old.
That they're getting old, right? So I've heard this when I was in EY. And when I was in EY, I was maybe like 24, 25. And I was like, come guys, let's go do this. Oh my God, I'm getting old, man. Oh my God, guys, I'm getting old. And this is like 26, 27 years old people. I think I'm getting too old for this. I think I'm getting too old for this. Like, guys, are you serious? Usain Bolt was at his peak when he was like maybe 29, 30. Cristiano Ronaldo. You're supposed to be at the peak of your physical fitness. You're supposed to be peak of your life and like whatever you're supposed to be in. You can't say you're getting old, right? So anyway, so this guy is 64 years old. And again, you talk about people getting old. They're just fat and like they don't give a shit about their life. They don't give a shit about physiology.
Yeah, that's an excuse, right? I'm old, so I don't give. It's okay for me to be fat.
Yeah,
it's okay for me to like drink sugary stuff.
Yeah, I've lived life already. I've already experienced life. But hey, even if you're at 50, right, 55, even if you're at 60, dude, look at Mahathir, right, 93, 94 years old, running a country, top notch, like what an inspirational leader. If you are 60 and you are not thinking about your life, if you are not thinking about your health, you have 33 years to go through suffering. You're going to suffer for the next 33 years because you're not paying attention to it. You've already accepted the fact that you're old and you allow yourself to like go down in this like shitty thing. Sorry to go off at that tangent, but coming back to Doug. So Doug is 64 years old and he was sharing the story. So we had the session where you all share your stories and whatnot. And then he's sharing the story, right? He drops down to a split, like a full side split. Like, and I'm like, what? And it's like a full on like, watch guys, look what I can do. And he drops down to the splits and I'm like, man, even when I was a kid, I couldn't do that, right? Like my whole life, I could never do a split. Like I always thought I would like tear my balls if like I even like attempted to do a split. And he drops down to the side. I'm like, wow. And then he starts doing one-hand push-ups. He does like 10 one-hand push-ups. And I'm like, dude, I'm struggling to do 5. And I'm like at the peak of my physical condition, right? I'm like, everyone's like, oh, P, do you work out, man? You look so good. You lost weight. And I'm like, man, trying to do 10 one-hand push-ups is a real struggle.
Do one.
It's a struggle, dude. It's crazy. This guy is 64 years old. He has white hair. He's balding. And I'm like...
And he can kick your ass.
He can kick my ass.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's not even the most beautiful part about his story. The most beautiful part about his story is few years before I met him, he was paralyzed from the waist down. He had a disease and he was paralyzed from the waist down. I don't know the name of the disease, right? So I need to go find out from him. But he was paralyzed from the waist down and the doctor said, hey, look, it's 50-50 right now. You're either going to be completely paralyzed or you could heal. And his story is quite sad as well, because like at the same time his wife was suffering from cancer. His wife was suffering from cancer. The wife was gonna die, and then his children was his biggest motivator. His children went up to him and they held his hand and they said like, "Daddy, no matter what, you cannot leave us, right? No matter what, you can't leave us." And you know, it was such a touching, like when he was sharing that story, like you could just feel every ounce of like emotion, and like he just broke down crying and he's sharing this, and I almost cried because it was so touching. And like he was sharing, like he said literally he could not walk, he was on crutches. He was like, you know, if you see people who are like handicapped and like and can't walk and on those crutches, he was exactly that. His legs are just like jelly and that. And then when he first did the ice bath, his son had to carry him, put him in the ice, leave him there for a few minutes, kind of pick him out. And then he did that. And he did that again and again and again, to a point where right now he can do a full splits. Right now he can do 10 one-handed push-ups. And I'm like, that is insane. Like, how do you do that? Like, even to a normal person who's not ill, right? They can't do that. Somebody who goes to the gym all the time, they can't do that. And this guy can do it. And I thought that is amazing. And then now, like globally, the amount of work and the amount of people that this method has saved is crazy. There are people with depression, people with bipolar, people with PTSD, people with drug addictions. We have instructors around the world who are teaching in jails, who are helping all these drug addicts. They're training the army. Because all these people in the army, they have PTSD, right? You go into a war-torn country, you kill innocent children, you see people dying all around you, you're going to get traumatized. All these people cannot sleep. They end up coming back here and committing suicide, which is so sad. That now, through this method, they are able to overcome the PTSD. Through this method, they are able to have their lives back. Through this method, they are able to sleep like a baby, remove all the stress, remove all the trauma. And again, that's the beautiful thing about breathing. So whenever you learn how to breathe, you take those deep breaths. Even in meditation, you get these breakthroughs because you're always just breathing. How often do you spend 30 minutes of your time just sitting down there and breathing? Most of the time, you're either going somewhere, doing something, replying a WhatsApp message, looking at Instagram, looking at Facebook. You're so busy all the time that you don't take the time for yourself, you know? And so again, that's why it's amazing, like how just, so then they also show like, actually people with depression, right, aren't able to do one particular breath. So there's this breath where if you can take it in all the way, they show people who are depressed cannot do that. So if you can just do that alone, if you can learn how to take that deep breath alone and you learn how to really breathe, then you will never be depressed. They have shown that if you can just breathe, that you won't be depressed. And this is the most crazy thing, right? So, again, learning how to breathe solves 75 to 90% of the problems that the world has. Because 75 to 90% of the problems that the world has is stress related. Stress then leads to depression, anxiety, or cancer, or some form of chronic illness, because your system is not built to be stressed for long periods of time. Yeah. Right?
So basically, you're putting yourself in a positive, well, maybe not positive, you're just calm most of the time.
Yeah.
Right? So you're just like, okay, shit happened.
Exactly.
I think I'm breathing more so now.
Exactly.
Like, shit, I gotta breathe.
So over here now, you said you met Doug while you were in the US at a camp.
Yeah.
Where you took the exam.
Yeah.
What's the certification like for the Wimhof method? You start off, I mean, after you saw the video, you said you got the online course. You did an online course.
Yeah.
And then what happens next?
So it starts with an online course, and after an online course, I had to go to US once for the advanced course. So the advanced course was just a 2-day course where they kind of tell you a little bit more information about the Wimhof method. And then I had to go to the US again for a 1-week immersive camp. So in that 1-week immersive camp, oh my God, it's mind-blowing, it's crazy, it's amazing. I don't even know how to explain it, but like I would love to bring this kind of experience here to Malaysia, to the people in Malaysia. I told you about this other guy who I know who's also doing the Wimhof method. We're talking about how we can also do a similar camp like that.
Brilliant.
And people need to really experience it, because when I went there, that was the very first camp. So just to give you a bit of background, there's about 50 people at that camp. I've been to many camps in my whole life. I've been a prefect, I've been a monitor, I've been like church camps. I've been to so many camps my whole life, and I love camps, right? And it's because this is, especially as kids growing up, it's just a great way to like get away from parents and kind of like enjoy yourself. But this camp was outstanding and so different in so many ways. Like the first thing that really stood out to me is that is how open and genuine all the people, everyone are. So you know how like normally if you go for a camp or if you go into a big group, there's always one asshole. There's always one big asshole. There's one big dick that you just don't really want to talk to the fella. It's like he's just arrogant in his own ways, and he thinks he's so good that, he tries to command and take all the attention, but actually everyone's just annoyed at that person, right? And this camp of 50 people, right? Not one asshole, not one evil person, not one person who I did not want to meet, not one person who I didn't want to talk to. Each and every one of them there had their own story to share. Each one of them there had something special, had their own like unique thing about themselves that it was so interesting. And just as I thought like I knew so much about the world, just as I thought I knew so much, when I went there, I realized I knew nothing. I met doctors, I met firemen, I met like shamans, like some, like spiritual leaders. I met like ex-army people. I met like people who've been paralyzed. So many people who are depressed, who are anxious in their own ways. Everybody has their own stories to tell, and everyone is so genuine. That is amazing. There's so much love, right? Like in Malaysia, like you go to someone, you say, I love you. The person's going to look at you and be like, you weird ass motherfucker. Like, what is wrong with you?
How much money on borrow now?
You hippie. Yeah, right? Like, what do you want? Like, what is this? What is this alternative motive? So like nobody in Malaysia tells you I love you. Like, and it's so weird. Even like with kids, with parents, like it's very rare that you meet somebody who says like, yeah, actually I tell my parents I love them all the time. It's like, no, most of the people I talk to, they tell me it's very hard to go to their parents and say I love you, just because it's not a normal thing.
Yeah.
When I went to this camp, everybody was telling me they love me. Everybody was sharing so much love that I felt so loved, right? And I was like, wow, what is happening? Like I had a similar mentality. What's the catch here? Why is everyone so nice to me? Like, why is everyone so genuine, and everyone cares, and everyone's listening, and everyone's paying attention, and everyone's sharing? And like, here, where I was here with so many people, I'm like, so what do you want in life? Oh, why are you asking me such a deep question? Like, why, I don't want to think about these things, or what do you want to know? Why do you want to know these things? And they're very like defensive. Nobody wants to share. And I'm like, it's just a standard question.
Brought up, man. It's just how we brought up.
Yeah.
So
people are
give you
scared,
shit.
I guess, to think, and it takes effort to think about those kind of questions.
You're right.
And I think like we talked about this earlier, where when you're young, you're hammered all the time.
Yes.
Stupid dream. What dream is that? You want to be a singer?
Yes.
Singer make money, man.
Yeah.
You're stuck then in this like.
Yeah. So
is this right? Is this
yeah,
right?
there's only really
correct.
3 jobs you can have.
Yeah.
Right? Be a doctor, be an accountant, or be an engineer.
Yes.
Or be a lawyer.
Or
So
lawyer.
4 things.
Yeah. Because these are really safe jobs, right? Like I remember I was told, oh, as long as you're an auditor and you get certified, oh, you're sorted for life, man. You got it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's do accounting. Oh my god, accounting was the worst subject. It's so boring, right? But it's so many people. So growing up, like you brought up a great point. Everybody tells you what you cannot do. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And that's why so many people are anxious. So many people are stressed. Should I do this? I don't know if I can do it. Can I do it? What if I fuck up? Is this right? Is this wrong? I don't know if it's right, it's wrong. Oh my god, my system is shutting down. And like, and they start reading. I can't read. I'm panicking. And then like, they fuck up, And so the camp, right? So it was such a loving camp, and like in that camp, we learned everything about the Wimhof method, like the latest. So more and more studies are being done around the world, and the best part is now Wimhof doesn't even need to be part of the studies. Like at the start, all the studies are on him because there's obviously not enough participants. But now, like Harvard is doing research, Stanford's doing research, like so many universities around the world are doing this great research. So they just updated us about like what's the latest happenings. You know, now they're doing research on cancer and how this can help cancer patients. You know, they did studies on Lyme disease and how this helps people with Lyme disease. I heard there were so many participants with Lyme disease that and they show how like this method has really helped them change their lives. You know, people with Lyme disease, same thing, like their whole body just shuts down, and like through the method they can do all of this. And then of course there's ice immersions, then we went to waterfalls, we went into nature, and like we went into this beautiful lake outdoors. And honestly, right, like as simple as this may sound again, like nature is truly the most beautiful thing that you can ever find. Like anything that you see on TV, anything that you see on your phone, anything that you see on camera or whatever, it's all inspired by nature, right? And the thing about nature is that it's so beautiful that it has something to offer every time. You can sit at one spot and like the background, the scenery will be different all the time. You see clouds, different shapes, different sizes, different ways. And like nature is the best teacher and nature is also the best healer. So it was so beautiful how when we went into the lake, right? And you can imagine the water is so cold. Like the water is really, really cold. And we're supposed to be very still, right? You're not supposed to react. So they were teaching us not to react to your environment. So when you go in, so like the other thing is like, if you come to my class or if you try to go into an ice bath, what you realize is a lot of people, when they're nervous, they start joking. They start laughing and start making like
Sounds
nervous
familiar.
jokes. It's like, this will be cool, innit? Yeah. But like at that point in time, they said like, no, you can't do any of this. You need to be just really still, really in your space, in your zone, and then we walk into this lake. And then we walk into this lake, everyone, 50 people. Everyone's just silent. Everyone's just so still. And then like you see a mountain in the background. Then you see the sun on the mountain. You see clouds behind it. And then there's a duck swimming right in front of us.
Damn.
So we're like, and you see when you look at the duck looks so zen and chilled out all the time. And so if we are breathing in there, we're like, okay, if this duck is chilled out, so we gotta be chilled out. So
I'm not so sure though if it's chill. 50 guys walking into the pond and he's like, fuck.
yeah. But that's the thing, right? So when you learn how to control your state, when you learn how to breathe, then you learn how to go into any situation feeling calm, cool, confident, and relaxed. So imagine being able to walk in to any situation, any event, any meeting, any talk, and feel however you want to feel. Feel amazing, feel clear, feel great. You know what I mean? So if you make a decision, if you are really stressed out and if you're really clear and happy, which decision would you make better? When would you generate a better idea?
Yeah, when you're calm and like...
When you're calm and you're happy,
definitely.
right?
Yeah.
So just doing that alone, that one great idea could be worth $1 billion. So just by managing your state, just by like learning how to breathe, again, it's so important. Just by learning how to breathe, you unlock so much potential. You unlock so many things in your life that, you know, like the value that you get out of it is just amazing, amazing value.
So I was just wondering, did the duck freak out though? Really?
No, the duck didn't freak out, right? The duck never freaks out. So the ducks are always so chilled out. And they're like, that's
50 guys into the pond and the duck doesn't freak out. Maybe he saw like people are chill, you know? I think animal knows.
Yeah.
Like they know.
They can feel it. They
can
feel
feel
it.
feel anxiety
Yes.
and stress as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like how dog feeds off your vibe as well, right?
Yes.
If you freak out, the dog freak out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you are afraid of cockroaches is gonna come for you. It's true. I believe that. I believe that. Even you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think animals can definitely sense fear, man. They're smart.
Sense.
Yeah.
They're really smart. You know.
It's all this like micro movement that you have, your body language.
Yeah. And do you realize the
man.
instincts, like even cats and everything, even when you're nearby, they just look at you. They kind of like, you move a bit, then they already like,
Yeah.
the instincts is crazy, you know. So I think like nature.
But some of them are like not used to, they're used to abuse, right? So they're a bit like scared.
Edgy.
Yeah. But some cats like there's this place in Taman Tun, right, in front of the market. You know where Uncle Don is at? Fucking loads of cats, man. And they're all just super chill because I think they're used to people petting them.
Right.
But if you raise your hand like you're gonna slap them, they'll bolt.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that, they'll be like, okay.
Huh.
It's weird. It's like they understand, like, you know.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, even dogs, right? If you try to raise your hand against a dog, it suddenly just...
Yeah.
Or you raise your voice, then it suddenly like quiets down. These animals are actually smart. Like they just maybe they can't communicate, or we just don't understand them, right? But they're actually really
Because
smart.
we're not chill half the time. Everyone's stressed and full of anxieties. And
So with breathing techniques and Wim Hof,
Yeah.
do you have to? Is it continuous? Is it something that you're doing now as we're speaking, or you're conscious about the way you're breathing?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yes. So, so the two most fundamental practices in any breath work, right? The first one is called breath awareness. So breath awareness is basically whereby you just pay attention to your breath, you notice how you breathe, you see what happens when you breathe, and then you kind of like just want to see what's happening, right? Some people, when they breathe in, they tense their neck, they tense their shoulders, and when they take the deep breath in, they're like, and they're like really forcing it. So, you just want to pay attention to that and like see what else you are doing that you're not supposed to be doing. You just relax everything else and you just kind of want to breathe, right?
So you need to relax everything.
Yeah, because you're only breathing, right?
Keep it loose.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
what do you need what else do you need anything for?
Bro, gotta be number one, bro.
Yeah.
There's always that one guy.
That ego, right?
Yeah.
That's ego. That's all just ego. Yeah, so it's taking that breath in, right?
A lot of it has to do with awareness, I think. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you are aware of what you're doing. You're not just. It's not just a fully automatic process now.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is some intervention or some pushing here and some pulling in this area.
I don't know whether is it the same, but because I had this problem before where my muscle tense up and because I'm stressed all the time, right? Cortisol just overload. And one of the things that I learned is that I have to pay attention to my breath.
Yep.
Because the moment it becomes short, I'm not relaxed.
Yep.
Everything tense up. Neck tense up, shoulder up, ready to go. Right? So is it the same? Like, is that how you pay attention to your own like breathing as well?
Yeah, that's right.
As you do more Wim Hof, you do it every day.
I try to do it daily.
Okay.
I breathe daily. So again, like
Me too, man.
exactly. I mean it's true. So so everybody breathes daily, right? So so the second part about breathing is conscious breathing. Consciously taking control of the breath. Not just paying attention to the breath and see how you feel, but actually consciously breathing. So I consciously breathe throughout the day. I'm consciously paying attention to my breath to see how my breath is like. Can I hold certain can I hold for certain durations? Can I not? Like so let's say if I can usually exhale for 20 seconds, can I do it now? And suddenly at times I notice, oh my god, I only can exhale for 10 seconds now. Oh, okay, now I will start paying attention to it. I'll slowly start increasing it again. And it's like I'm filling up my system, I'm filling up my energy, so I'm always consciously breathing. The Wim Hof method is the same thing. It's just a form of conscious breathing. The thing about the Wim Hof method is that it's something that needs to be practiced lying down. You need to be lying down, you need to be relaxed, you need to be calm, not before breathing. It's not a diving technique. It's not some super cool technique that you show your friend. It should be something that you just lie down, you relax, because you're going to have a very intense physiological change. That doesn't help me if I'm walking around and if I'm going for a meeting and everything. So I have different techniques that I use when I go about my day. And that's why I said, so when I said I'm breathing, I'm consciously breathing to ensure that my state is always at a state that I want it in and that I want to be in. Yeah. So even like, and the cool thing is this, right? The more conscious you are about your breathing, the more aware you are going to be. The more aware you are going to be, the more present you are as well. Because when you are right here, if you're paying attention to your breath, then there's nowhere else that you can be. Because right now, even if as you are talking to me, when you inhale, let's say you inhale for 5 seconds and you exhale for 10 seconds, counting that 5 seconds, 10 seconds is okay. And it makes you more present talking to me because you're not thinking about anything else. You're just listening to me and you're just breathing. And it's amazing how much more you can pick up and listen from other people. Because again, like I said, everyone has something to share. It's just that nobody's listening. Nobody's really listening. They are listening.
They're hearing.
They're hearing. That's right. That's a big difference. They're
waiting
hearing,
for their turn to talk, right?
but they're not listening,
Yeah.
right? But when you consciously breathe, you are going to start listening. And that changes everything. So even from like employee-employer relationships, parents and children, the biggest problems I see is between parents and children. Parents don't listen to children. Eventually, children don't listen to parents. Parents complain why children don't listen to the parents. And it's like, hey, guess what? You didn't listen to me my whole life. Why the hell would I want to listen to you? Right? Which is another topic altogether. Like I feel like that's one topic that really needs to be addressed, because I feel like parents, if you're gonna be a parent, then you need to grow up, right? Because now what most people do is they have problems, they have all these baggages, they get a kid, and they dump all these baggage and all their problems on the kid. You know, like when you see a kid like complain, or when you see a bad habit in a kid, hey, guess what? They picked it up from somewhere. And the most likely is they have picked it up from you. So if they're not listening, they're not paying attention to you, if they're just looking at their phones all the time, then ask yourself this: are you looking at your phones all the time? Yeah. Are you paying attention? Are you listening?
But look, to credit, right? It's tough, man. It's tough, like having a kid, having a job, having a lot of stress, having no time to think about shit.
Yeah.
And then your breath is like short all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Right? So I think most people don't really ask that question, right? What can I do better every single day?
Right.
Because every single day the boss is breathing on their neck, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's difficult. It's a difficult problem to solve.
So people go around their lives just troubleshooting instead of
they don't want to troubleshoot.
Doing all this.
They just want to like go through the motions and
you're just constantly dealing with shit, right? You're just dealing with shit, and you're not actually doing some like perfective maintenance for your body.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not taking care of your body.
Yeah. And you just want yourself. Outcome to fit to your expectation, whether it's your kid, your work, the traffic, right? Because you're so fed up with everything not going away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard to like,
Yeah. So that's so cool, right? Like what you said is right. Standard problem, average problem that everybody has. Thing is, life can actually be a lot simpler. See that question that you asked earlier? Not everybody asks, how can I be better? But the thing is, if everybody just learns how to ask that one simple question, how can I do things better? Or how can I do it and enjoy myself? Or how can my life be a bit better now? By asking yourself the right questions, you get the right answers. So if you ask yourself, why am I stressed out all the time? Guess what? Yeah. Just like Google, your brain's gonna be like, here, man, here's all the reasons why you are stressed out. Reason number 1, reason number 2, and you're gonna get even more stressed out. You're gonna feel even worse. Why does everybody hate me? What does that mean? That already assumes that everybody hates you. And then now you're gonna look for reasons for why people hate you. And then you're like, yep, that's right. That's why people hate me. Oh my God, I'm so useless in life.
It's all confirmation bias. It's all, it's like an echo chamber.
It's just asking yourself. Yeah. It's like you're asking for it. You're literally asking for it.
Want to like start that process, because if you don't take ownership of the shit that goes on in your life, you won't start asking this kind of question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you keep leaving it to like external factors that cause this. So finding that limitations again, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it's the same thing.
You're just running away from the actual issue.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, guys, I need to go soon, so let's wrap this up.
Sure.
Now, where do people find you? Take responsibility, go to his class. Okay, where do people find you?
So for now, I have a Facebook page. It's called my name, Piyachai Teo, and I called myself the Stress Destroyer because I really feel
the Stress Destroyer.
The Stress Destroyer, yeah,
stressful.
Yeah, because I feel like stress is really like if it's the biggest problem that we actually have, and if we can eliminate stress, then we eliminate a lot of problems that we have in our life.
Yeah, 100%.
So I have a Facebook page. You can also find me on the Wimhof method itself. I have a profile there, and I'm arranging all my classes there. So if anyone's interested in actually coming for a Wimhof method fundamentals class, then they can go onto the website, find my profile. I'm still like one of the only like Malaysians or
I saw the list. There's only your name, man.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Malaysian
yeah.
Nice.
So So it shouldn't be too difficult to find me as an instructor.
Okay.
I have classes across the year. So yeah, that'll be the best way.
Any expeditions planned? I know the whole Wimhof method.
Yeah, maybe run up KK.
Class. Yeah,
short.
plenty of expeditions. Right?
Yep.
Even he started off with the whole Kilimanjaro.
That's right.
Anything planned? Do they do anything around this side of the world?
No, nothing planned. So they still most of the expeditions done by Wimhof himself is still done mainly in Europe. But we for Malaysia and for Southeast Asia, there are plans. There's nothing concrete yet, so we will definitely keep you posted. But for sure, we definitely want to have an expedition because the best way that you can really grasp everything and really take everything is to like be fully immersed in it. So we're just working out the logistics, working out where to do it, how to do it. Yeah, but for sure, expeditions are definitely on the way.
So your classes will it be posted on Facebook pages as well? Or
Yes.
Do you have an Instagram account as well?
I do have an Instagram account as well, yeah. But I'm not too active on my Instagram account yet.
So mainly
I'm
Facebook?
Mainly Facebook, because I'm still setting everything up. You know, I want to make sure I deliver the most value I can to everybody who I meet. So yeah, that's the goal.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll put the links in
Yeah,
there.
we'll put a
You guys
link
can
in
find the
there.
links.
Yeah, so people can find you.
Yeah.
And hopefully we speak to you soon again.
Cool. Fantastic.
It's
This
been
has
fun.
been really enlightening, and I am going to start, conscious breathing.
Conscious deep breathing as well.
Conscious deep breathing.
Into
Yeah.
the diaphragm.
Into the
So
diaphragm.
Let's
Into the
all
diaphragm.
take one deep breath and say bye bye, and then we'll end this.
Okay. So take a deep breath. Let it go. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Signing out.
All right. Ciao, guys.
Cool, man.
Okay, man. Jesus.